In this episode, we learn a bit more about the Chimera ant queen and, of course, what she can do when she gives birth to each generation.
Hunter x Hunter, episode 77, y'all. Unease and sighting.
Ooh, this is exciting. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and hunters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim. I'm here to bring you another review on the awesome and ant-filled Phagogenesis-ridden tale of Hunter x Hunter. Now, our last episode, of course, saw us officially kicking off the Chimera ant arc, and really what it was is it was Gon and Killua and their introduction to Kite. And obviously him, finding out about his background and knowing that, he was trained by Jing, Gon's father, obviously. And then there was a number of different things that were laid out for us with that. But we were able to actually see firsthand the Chimera ants as Kite wound up destroying this anthill that Gon and Killua were actually right by. And then explained a little bit about how they were this, phase 1 or level 1 quarantine. That basically they're like a DEFCON 5 threat is what they are. The episode ended off with, and we actually saw twice during the course of the episode, what we presume to be the Chimera ant queen. And it looks as if she's maybe like injured or needs some more food and sustenance to maybe grow or what have you. And she's in this cave. And certainly things wound up leaving off with us seeing this ominous, scary, creepy-looking figure, man, that just sent chills up my spine. Not a fan of bugs to begin with, but that's how things left off. And things wind up picking up over here. Really, this focuses a lot on the Chimera ant queen and just the whole process of this phagogenesis, which they wind up explaining, and I'll get into in a minute. But first and foremost, we wind up seeing her, and this queen that we see actually looks like she's able to walk upright. Almost looks like a humanoid version of. She doesn't look like an ant. Like in the last episode, she looked more like hunched over and everything. And when you see her in this one going and devouring, food and whatnot, fish and everything like that from this cave that she's kind of sitting at the entrance to now, she has like the back end of the ant, but then it looks like can kind of stand up and almost, again, just kind of a creepy humanoid form. So the whole goal, it seems like, is her obviously eating more food, larger types of animals, and to be able to get more sustenance and to be able to give birth eventually, I guess, to the Ant King is the eventual goal. So not a lot of that's laid out for us here, but we go back to Gon and of course Killua, who are sitting there talking with Kite, and Kite explains that that he is trying to think of the word right now, but basically more or less like a lot of what he studies is like the study of the animals and creatures and things like that. And there's this one animal that he was studying that he shows that has this horn where it actually goes and kills its prey, skewers it, and then goes and actually cooks it while it's on the horn, right? An animal that actually thinks to not eat the meat raw and actually has evolved to the point where it wants to cook its food to eat it, and it's really neat to just go and kind of see this. He's been doing this for a few years. He's been working with this team of like the kind of new, I think they're like newer, like junior hunters, the way he explained it. They basically seem like they have good intentions, but maybe a little wet behind the ears, And we're introduced to this team that he works with, and it's like 6 or 7 other ones, and they all have unique names and almost like nicknames that you could shorten. Like one of them is Stick Dinner. And then I guess he's the cook, so obviously dinner, is how you can remember that one. Another one is, and I believe this was a female, is Banana Cavero, I think it was. There's Spinner Clow, and then there's also Monta Urus, and he introduces himself as like Mon, and I thought him as like Monty for whatever reason or another. So those 4 wind up being introduced to, and they're kind of in awe when they find out and they meet Gon, and they find out that he's actually Jing's son. And then they wind up going and finding out that Killua is from the Zoldyck family. And so they're kind of like, oh wow, even though these kids technically are younger than them and smaller than them in stature and everything, they're thinking, oh wow, this is, it's like meeting rock stars or something for them, So very cool to see that. But basically, they have to go and they wind up, one of the characters winds up going and showing this little vial that he has with this sample of a claw that's about the size of a human finger from one of these Chimera ants, right? And they're going to go and they're going to investigate and everything else, and it was found on the continent of Asia, I think, which I'm comparing to like Asia just because it's like Asia with a Z. But anyway, the bottom line is they're going to go off on their adventure, and Gon and Killua, well, Gon asks if they can tag along, and Kite says, yeah, sure. So this, at least for temporarily at least, looks like they're going to team up with this, these other characters and whatnot. So that's why I tried to commit some of the names as much as I could to memory over here, and I hope I can remember the last two, because they have to go wind up meeting up with the other two. Through like a flashback, they wind up actually showing how how they were brought in and shown basically by like this historical society or whatever that had, it looks like they actually had the claw, and I mean a huge like arm that's the size of a human arm, of this, I'm assuming of like one of these larger Chimera ants, or maybe it was even from the Ant Queen, because in the last episode it looked like she was trying to gain sustenance, and she was weak from maybe being injured, so maybe there had been some kind of attack, she somehow lost that arm, I don't know. Anyway, that's why they're off there studying these things, and have been. And as they wind up meeting up with the other two characters, and the other two characters are Lin Koshi and Pedunco, Leroy. So that's the whole gamut of characters that you have. And as I said, this episode doesn't focus much on Gon and Killua at all. It really focuses on the Chimera Ant Queen. They show a little boy and girl off playing, off by the river, and the boy protects his sister by going and chasing away the snake, hitting it with a stick. You see them sitting down talking with their mother later on at night, and you think, oh, well, there's going to be new characters, right? And then later on, they go off, and this is after there's a cutscene that goes and takes you to the Chimera Ant Queen. They talk about the Phagogenesis, right? The Phagogenesis is basically the Chimera Ant Queen, whatever she eats, whatever type of creature, animal, in the subsequent birthings that she has, she can give birth to up to 5 Chimera ants at once, and they start to, and each generation will go and take on the traits of the different types of animal or creature that she has devoured, right? So you wind up seeing some of these things in this cutscene get birthed, the scene that takes you away from that family, get birthed, and there's like a crab-looking one. There's basically these different mutated ones that are like part ant and part whatever the hell it was that she was eating. There's one that looks like similar like a bat, because she ate a bat, And she goes and sends them off with like her telepathic powers. Now keep in mind, she can talk, but she has to communicate with them telepathically. That's what it seems like to me. And sends them off to get her more food, right? So we go and you fast forward to the next morning. Those two kids, the brother and sister, they're out playing. They've caught some fish. They're coming back. They got a big haul for the day. They're excited. And all of a sudden they come upon this crab-looking ant, And of course the boy's going to go and try to defend his sister. And then it just kind of cuts away from there. Takes us back into the cave, right? And you see the bloody clothes of the children, and the Chimera Ant Queen finishing eating her meal. And she's like, oh, that's good. I need more of that. So now we know that, number one, I'm glad it was done off screen, because to tell you that, or off camera, I guess you would say, because I'm not real. I don't like bugs to begin with, and I'm not real cool with like little kids getting devoured either by ants or monsters or whatever, So alluding to it and letting us know that it happened, but not actually showing us, I thought for me was good, because my stomach was already turning when I was thinking about it. Just, it makes my skin crawl, But then to think about it and to think, oh my god, okay, so she's now going to go and send her minions after and go after humans, because she can obviously go and take on some of those traits of those, and she thought that was kind of like good nourishment for her as well, building up her strength and energy to eventually give birth to this Ant King, So the whole Phagogenesis thing, or Phagogenesis, or however, I think is very interesting and is very cool. I don't know if there's any type of, realistic like science to back anything like that up, if there is any type of creature or species that, that we know of in the known world here, that we reside in, that can do anything even similar to that. That I haven't looked into, but I just thought it was kind of cool to kind of back it up with this sort of like scientific type explanation, as it lends to the credibility of the story. For me, it helps to get into it more, So, very cool stuff. But anyway, she winds up going and giving birth then towards the end of this thing. It goes back to Gon and Kilo and them, and they're kind of searching around in this beach where the claw actually washed up ashore. And they search around all day, they find nothing. And then they're just going to kind of go back to the drawing board, with that. Kite says, hey, listen, searching aimlessly is stupid. Let's kind of regroup and gather our thoughts and come up with a plan of action. But like I said, that wasn't the focus. This focus was on showing us the Chimera Ant Queen and some of this evolution and what's going to happen with that, because she's got all these sacks hanging all around of potential Chimera ants that she's going to give birth to. And at the end of the episode, man, this one that drops down is this weird-looking, flying, sort of humanoid-looking one. It's sort of got like a kind of twisted, kind of human face, and it can fly. But the thing comes out, and the significant part is it comes out, right, and just from birth, just pops right out of its little sack, and it can talk. It speaks English, right? It talks. It speaks Japanese, but English subtitles. No, but you know what I mean. It can communicate and vocalize its thoughts to the Ant Queen, to the Chimera Ant Queen, and she's even surprised by that. She makes him a squadron leader and then goes and sends him, along with some of the other subordinates, out to go and get, you guessed it, more food, probably more humans. So, very, very cool stuff. This Chimera Ant Queen is just, man, really creepy and just sends chills up my spine, makes my skin crawl. That kind of goes around full circle to what my episode question is, brothers and sisters. Number one, it's a two-part question. Number one, what are your thoughts on the explanation of this Phagogenesis and how it's obviously kind of interpreted and brought into the sort of lore and mythos of Hunter x Hunter? And number two, the second part of that question is, what are your thoughts initially on the Chimera Ant Queen? Now that you've kind of seen her moving around a little bit and just kind of knowing what she's all about, man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's humans, bats, kids, horses, whatever the hell comes to her, right? She will eat, I'm assuming anyway. I didn't assume. But very, very neat stuff. Let me know what your answer is to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation. I am forever in debt for your continued support, and as always, thanks for watching.